Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. My name is Lindsay from Lottie and Albert, and in today's video I have for you a yarn haul. And I know if you have watched any of my recent videos, you will have seen that I put up a video about wanting to be a more minimalist crafter and getting rid of lots of stuff. So why am I doing a yarn haul? Well, I'm writing a crochet book at the moment, which is going to be out next year, and so all the yarn that I'm going to show you today in these big crates is for my book. So I feel like it's okay, because I did say to myself, when I'm bringing new yarn into the house, it needs to be intentional, it needs to be coming in for a reason, and the reason is my book. So I think that's a good enough excuse, but let me know if you think I'm being a massive hypocrite. And I can't tell you exactly what projects I'm going to be making with these yarns, but I just thought it might be fun for you to have a little bit of a sneak peek into what yarns I've chosen, and I can talk a little bit about what they're like and what properties they have and what kind of projects I'm going to use them for. So if you are a big yarn geek like me, then hopefully you will enjoy this video, and maybe it will give you some ideas to try some new yarns you haven't tried before, or maybe it's not a gift guide but some yarns you can add to your gift wish list for Christmas or future birthdays. So let's get started. I do also want to say, as I'm getting into it, that all of these yarns have been essentially gifted, and the reason for that is because I'm writing a book and the yarn companies are hoping that it will get their yarns in front of lots of people. A lot of yarn companies do what they call yarn support. So if you're writing a book or a project for a magazine, you can apply. Sometimes it's just by email, and sometimes they have set ways of doing it. You can apply for yarn support and then say which yarn it is you're after, and they will send it you. So I will mention the companies that have sent me this yarn, but I have chosen them all myself. It's not a case of them trying to send me specific projects. All of these yarns are yarns that I've chosen because I previously liked them and I really wanted to include them in my book. So the first yarn that I'm going to show you is Knitcraft Leader of the Pack. Now, you may have seen me using this before. I think it's probably not unfair to say this is my favourite yarn. It's an Aran weight. It's 90% acrylic and 10% alpaca, and I think even just that 10%, see if you can see what it looks like up close, even just that 10% of alpaca makes a real big difference. It takes it from feeling how acrylics can sometimes feel a little bit squeaky, and it really softens it up, gives it a fuzzy halo. It is quite fluffy, I don't know if you can see, so if you don't like that, or if you find that sometimes gets on your chest, it's maybe not for you, but it's a really nice yarn to work up, a really warm yarn. It does say it's hand wash only, I guess because of that 10%. And these are some of the colours that it's come in. I've actually just done a separate project for Hobbycraft where I used this yarn. And these were two of the colours in that. But I thought I would show you that one as well because it's interesting to see a couple of the colours it comes in. There's also a sort of cream, which is probably my fave. And I think there's like a dark blue as well. So yeah, Leader of the Pack. In my book, I'm going to be using this for, what can I say, a Christmas project. I'm going to be using it for a Christmas project. What else can I tell you about it? It calls for 5mm hooks, which I guess you would expect for an Aran. So that is one of the new yarns that I have had delivered. The next one up in my little crate here is some Rico yarn, and this is called the Fashion Light Luxury, and I am a really big fan of Rico yarns. I feel like you don't see them in the shops in the UK as much, but they're just really nice and fluffy, these ones. So this Fashion Light Luxury, it says made in Peru. It's 74% alpaca, 22% wool and 4% nylon, so that's got a much higher sort of animal fiber. Oh, look at this light, I'm in totally the wrong spot. Much higher animal fiber content, is that what I'm trying to say, in the Fashion Light Luxury. And I'm using these for a homewares project. You can probably guess what kind of homewares project, that needed some fluffy texture. I felt needed some fluffy texture, and I've actually paired it with this is a different Rico yarn. This is the Fashion Alpaca Dream. This comes in 50-gram balls, and this is 64% wool, virgin wool, 30% alpaca, and 6% polyamide. And I'm going to move you so that I can give you close-ups. You can see on a close-up how different these yarns are in texture. So this one is plied, but it's got such a halo, it's hard to see the center of it. And this one is actually a chainette construction, so it almost looks like a little chain or I-cord when you're looking at it up close. And yeah, I'm going to use these together in a project, so hopefully when the book comes out you will be able to see straight away what that one is. I'm also I'll just tell you most of it. This is going to be a loop stitch project, so it's loop stitch in this super fluffy fuzzy yarn, just for, you know, maximum texture, because that's what we want really, isn't it? All the time, texture. So that's a Rico yarn. We're one crate down. In my next crate, I have some more goodies. I mean, I'm going to try not to just get more and more excited talking about yarn as I go on, but obviously yarn is exciting. So in this crate, I have got some chunky wool, and it's literally called the Chunky Wool. This is a Stitch and Story yarn. If you haven't heard of Stitch and Story before, they are, I want it to focus, there we go. They are, I think they're a UK brand, and they're quite a sort of smaller, I want to say like family run business. It's two girls, two ladies who run it. I can't remember now if they're sisters or not, but they are really lovely. They do a lot of licensing work, so you might have seen their Sophie La Giraffe kits. They've also done some Miffy stuff, some Snoopy Peanut crochet and knit kits, and so yeah, they often will license another brand and then turn it into really fun kits and things. I've made a couple of their kits before. I made their Snoopy, not Snoopy, Hello Kitty, Miffy. I made their Miffy slippers and a Miffy doll, and I started making a Hello Kitty hat, I think. Or yeah, what's the latest one? I can't remember, but go and check out Stitch and Story because they're a lovely company. And in here, I hope you like this colour combo, we have this dark, it's actually a little bit deeper than it's showing on camera, a burgundy, a pink, and a cream. And so the fibre of these yarns, I should learn like the proper terms, but it's not plied, it's just this sort of thick, squishy goodness. The colours are Sangria Red, great name for a colour. Oh look, that's probably a little bit more the true colour on camera now. Dust Pink, and this one is Ivory White. And these yarns are hand wash only. I guess most of them are, unless they're acrylic. This is calls for 12 millimeters, so it's like a super chunky really. So yeah, it's a really nice one, and it's just 100% merino wool. And this is going to be a wearable project in the book, but a sort of winter wearable. So again, you can probably work out what kind of project that's going to be. And I'm going to do a bit of colour work and tapestry crochet with these, which is going to be fun because they're so plump and big and squishy. So yeah, I'm really pleased with this red colour and how it's looking. I ummed and ahed for ages because their colours are very nice, and they're very, I want to say like slightly heritage, not muted, but just those kind of grown-up colour palette colours. So yeah, I'm very happy with that selection that I made. I have got 2 balls of each, just because I'm not sure yet which is going to be my main colour and which is going to be my secondary colours. So that's the 3rd yarn. 4th yarn coming up is another very nice yarn, and this is probably the most expensive yarn in my haul because it's some Rowan yarn. I ordinarily in life tend to not be too wowed by brands, especially when it comes to clothes. I'm not particularly into designer clothing or bags or really anything like that. But apparently when it comes to yarn, I'm like very brand aware, and Rowan to me is just like a luxe. The kind of yarn you buy when you're like grown up and you've got the money to buy it and treat yourself and make a really sophisticated project. That's how I feel about Rowan yarns. And I mean, probably their yarn is good quality and it's a really old company and it's just lovely to work with. And the reason I ended up getting this yarn was actually I bought some of this. It's the Kid Classic in somebody's D-stash ages ago on Instagram, and I made something out of it, and I just enjoyed working with it so much. When I was doing the book project, I really wanted to include one Rowan yarn. And I should say, in the book as a whole, what I've really tried to do is use yarns that we use a variety of yarns really, and I feel like this selection won't quite represent it, but I was really keen to use lots of different kinds. So I've got a raffia yarn, I've got t-shirt yarn, I've got a little bit of acrylic, but mostly where I've used acrylic, it's what I've called scrap projects. So it's projects that can use either different weights of fabric or different weights of yarn, so no matter like what you've got in your stash, you can use it in this project. Or yeah, it's using up those acrylic yarns. I have tried to go for more either sustainable animal fibers or eco-friendly sort of plant fiber based yarns where I can, but I know there's just a constant toss-up, isn't there? Because if you are vegan and you don't want to use animal fibre, then obviously that does lend you more towards the sort of cottons and the bamboos and the acrylics. But then acrylics are sometimes not great either because of the sort of small microfibres and the plastic content. But then there was also the argument that if you're going to make something out of acrylic and it's going to last longer and you're going to get lots and lots of wear out of it, then in a way it can have a lower carbon footprint than like a cotton yarn that uses excessive amounts of water. So there's just a scale, isn't there? I know, for instance, some mohair yarns are a big no-no because they don't get PETA rating. Am I saying that right, or do you say the initials PETA? Whereas others are sustainably and ethically sourced. So I guess like everything in our lives at the moment, it's good where we can to make small swaps from an environmental point of view, and to just be aware of the origins of our yarns from sustainability. And also I think for us as crocheters and knitters, a little bit of animal welfare awareness there too. But also your head can explode if you go that deep into it, because there is no perfect yarn really. Some are better than others, definitely, and it really does pay, I think, to be more aware of it. But that's a little bit of a tangent from what I'm basically trying to say, is that most of these yarns that I've got here are for the kind of winter projects in my book and autumn, so they're the kind of like cozier, fluffier ones. But on the whole, I have also included a lot of hemp yarn and cotton yarn and raffia and paper t-shirts to get a real mix in there. I didn't want it to be a book that just used one yarn brand or one kind of yarn to make all the projects, and sometimes that does work. Like if it's a blanket book, then it's going to tend to be DK yarn that's either acrylic or an acrylic blend. But back to these Rowan yarns. This is the Rowan Kid Classic. It's made with lamb's wool and kid mohair. I'm pretty confident it's a DK weight yarn. Oh, is it DK or is it Aran? Because it calls for 5 to 5.5 millimeter crochet hooks. And I have a few options here just because I wasn't 100% sure what colours I was going to include. But as you can see, they're all pretty much neutrals for this project, or you know, those kind of calmer colours. So this is a black. This is, have they got their colours on there? They've got the shade numbers, but they haven't got what they're called. They have nicer names than shade 892 on the website. But this is 892, this is a black. This is actually a navy. I wonder if it's showing up on camera as a navy. This lovely camel colour, which literally just as I held it up to the camera I thought, oh, that would make a really nice cardigan or a jumper out of that colour. It's a little bit darker in real life than what it's showing up on camera. There's this sort of cream colour here, and then this is a sort of soft brown colour, so very earthy, natural vibes. It looks like a little stack of pebbles, so a little bit different than my typical colour palette. But again, I wanted all the projects in the book to tie together, but they aren't necessarily all pink and mustard because people like different things, right? You guys don't all like pink and mustard just because I do. So that's that one. That's, as I said, that's another winter project. That's going to be another wearable project, but it's not a jumper or a cardigan. Everything in my book is either an accessory of some kind. So if it's homewares, well, it's accessories, and if it's a wearable, it's like a bag or a hat or a scarf. I haven't got lots of garments in the book. Okay, on to crate number 3. This is a little bit different from maybe standard yarns because it is actually a big cone of cord. Now this is 100% recycled cotton cord, and this is from a company called Woolly Mahusive. If you've watched my videos for a long time, you've probably heard me talk about Woolly Mahusive before because they specialise in, as you can probably tell from the name, Mahusive yarns. Big yarns, and they do a lot of the arm knitting yarns. I did go away on a retreat with Woolly Mahusive a couple of years ago now, which was amazing. We stayed in this big gothic Airbnb, and it was me and a group of other sort of crocheters and knitters, and yeah, we drank a lot of wine and talked about yarn. It was pretty good. So yeah, this is the cord, and obviously it's very thick. It is 10mm, and so what I do with this, you may have seen I'm running a workshop soon for some crochet baskets, which is separate from my book. I use this as sort of the center of a crochet project, and I crochet around it. This is the cream colorway. It also comes, I think she's got like a pink, a white, there might be like a darker colour as well. She's got about 4 or 5 colours. I'll put all the links to all the yarns I've talked about in the description box below if you did want to go and check any of them out. And then I was also very kindly sent by Woolly Mahusive as yarn support this 5mm cord, and I don't currently have a project in the book that uses this, but I thought I would show it to you as well so you can see the difference between the 5 and the 10. And this is a very traditional weight for using macrame projects, or this would be easier to crochet with if it was the active yarn on your hook rather than the kind of center core that you're crocheting over, which is how I use this. And also you could crochet with this, but I think it would need to be something very loose, and I guess you'd be using like a 15 or a 20mm hook to make that work. If you wanted to make a structural basket or something with this and crochet it as the main yarn, you could, but I think it would be quite hard work on the hands because it is cotton, and although it is a very soft cotton, I think, yeah, it would just require quite a lot of muscle power to make that work on the hook, and it wouldn't have as much glide as a sort of acrylic or an animal fibre because it's cotton. So that is pretty much it, other than this big boy, which, or big girl, you know, whatever. This was sent to me again by Woolly Mahusive, and I didn't request this one, but I think she just thought, I'm going to send it her and see if she wants to do anything with it. I'm not actually even 100% sure what weight this is, but you can see compared to the 5 and even the 10, it's very chunky. I think this would be cool to crochet around, or maybe to make a more of a sewn item out of it. But even having said that, I'm not sure if your sewing machine would get into it. An arm knitting sort of little mat or bath mat, that would be quite cool out of that actually. And a sort of hand crocheted, by which I mean without a hook, bath mat. There's an idea. Or yeah, you guys got any ideas what you could make with this? I mean, you could just do exercise with it. It's like a kettlebell. Don't know how heavy it is. And sometimes I think when I'm not doing book projects, it is quite fun to start with a yarn first and then see what ideas come from it. More often than not, I have an idea and then I choose a yarn to fit with the idea. But something like this is so different and so unusual. It's just fun to, if I saw it on a website, I don't think it would be as inspiring as it is in person. Does that make any sense? But yeah, look how chunky it is. So maybe I will think of something to make from this, other than just working out my arms. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 projects of my book, I think, are going to be made with these yarns. So I hope you enjoyed seeing a little bit more about the book process, cryptic as I have been in not really giving you any information. This light is just very bright. I'm sorry that if I've been really washed out all video. But yeah, I'm really excited about the book, and it still feels like quite a long way off. My deadline is actually January, so I've only got another month or so to work on it. But some of the yarns, like one of those yarns, 2 of those yarns I've shown you, I've actually already finished the project, and the others are all designed, etc. I just need to make them, I keep saying. So I'm getting there, but I don't know how long it's going to be with the publisher before it actually gets printed. I think it's going to be at least 6 months, so I feel like it will be like summer next year or maybe even autumn before the book is out. But I don't know. Obviously, as soon as I have sent it off and we do the photography, then I think we'll be able to get a firmer date and I can let you guys know yeah, when it's gonna be. So thank you so much for watching. If you have got this far in the video, I hope you've enjoyed geeking out with me a little bit about yarn, weights and fibres and properties, because I know not everybody finds that interesting, but hopefully you do. So let me know if you have enjoyed it, and I'll be back next time with another podcast video to catch you up on what I've been up to more generally. Yeah, I'll see you guys all really soon. Thanks so much for watching.